Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is your trainer Saida Sumaira and I'm here again with another exciting grammar topic for today. The topic that I've chosen for you people today is related to the modal verbs. As you can see that there is a chart that is already present on the screen. So first I would like to elaborate that what are modal verbs and why they are used, and I would really love to go here bilingual because English is mostly learned by the people who are not familiar with the patterns and who couldn't speak English. So modal verbs क्या हैं, हम इनको कहाँ पे use करते हैं, क्यों use किया जाता है? In today's lesson we are going to decode this. So modal verbs are basically used for the better communication. They are the type of verbs, but most of the time they are used to talk about the intent of the speaker, कि वो किस intention के साथ बात कर रहा है, whether they are giving some instructions, are they sharing some suggestions, are they making any sort of request, are they giving some order to somebody. So there are multiple types of the modal verbs that we are going to explore in today's lesson. So as you can see on the screen, there are different types starting from the ability modals. So what are ability modals? Ability means आपकी सलाहियत, आप क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या नहीं कर सकते. So for ability modals, we say that can is the model for the present and could is model of the past as well. And also it is used in the present for making requests. For example, they have shared example here, she can swim. So what you can do, you can write your message, write your statement in the message box as well. Like for say, if I say I can speak, I can write, I can't swim. So working on the pronunciation here, when we say that k and n sound, so it's can, not can. The next model is the modal verb for the permission. Permission means ijazat lena. And for the permission we say may, can and might. And might also it is used for possibility, plus it is also used as a permission model. And here they have shared one example, may I leave early. Also for permission in schools, we are familiar with one sentence very well, like may I come in, may I go, may I call you. Alright, so these models are known as permission models. And at times students they really feel confused कि एक modal verb जो है उसका usage क्या है. So these modal verbs they have their multiple usage, and how you are going to remember them, you have to make sentences out of them. If you will make a sentence, then you will get to know कि कहाँ पे ये as a permission use हो रहा है, कहाँ पे ये as ability use हो रहा है, और कहाँ पे ये as a possibility use हो रहा है. So as I mentioned that might is also used as a possibility model. So possibility means कि कोई चीज हो सकती है शायद या नहीं. So may, might and could, it shows the possibility, and could is also used as a past model. Could is derived from the word can, and can shows ability, and here you can see that it is also part of ability model. For example, it might rain today. If I can see clouds on the sky, so हमें पहले से पता होता है कि शायद बारिश हो जाएगी. So for showing that possibility, we can quote, it might rain today. And one rule here I have to mention, like if we talk about the sentence structure, SVO. So for all the modal verbs, they are followed by the first form of verb. Like first say, I can swim, leave, rain, right? So for all the modal verbs, this rule is the same. Like as the change of the tense happens, so there is no need to change the form of verb. Next model is the obligation model, where we have to put a condition कि जो चीज फर्ज है करना आप पे must है. So must, have to, need to, ought to and should, they all give the same meaning. If I talk about ought to, so ought to is used in more formal expressions, right? And the short form of ought to is oughta. So you must wear a seat belt. Again, you can see that we have used first form of verb followed by the modal must. Like you have to take your language classes regularly. You need to learn English language. You ought to consult a trainer for proper language learning, and you should work on your vocabulary words. So these are some of the examples that I've shared with you. The next is advice models. Advice means किसी को कोई नसीहत करना, कोई मशवरा देना, right? So advice models again should is the most common, ought to, had better. So these are advice models, and at times had better is written in the short form like this. So students really get confused whether it's I would or I had. So depending on the context, when you see that you're giving some suggestions, so definitely it would be had better. So you should see a doctor if you're not feeling well. Again, the next type is the possibility in the past model. And also in the conditional sentences, we use these expressions could have, might have, may have. But shortly, if you really want to remember, so these are the possibility models combined with have. She could have missed the bus. It shows the past model. कि उससे बस मिस हो जाती है अगर वो टाइम पे नहीं आती. You could have done this. कि आपको ये कर लेना चाहिए था. So it represents the past model and also ability, possibility. Deduction model, the word deduction, it came from deduce. Assumptions. Must and can't. He must be at work. कि हो सकता है कि वो काम पे होगा या वो लाजमी इस वक्त काम पे होगा. So जब आप ऑलरेडी सिचुएशन को डिवाइस करते हैं, स्पेकुलेट करते हैं, so that is the deduction model must and can't. For talking about the future intentions and predictions, we have will and shall, and also these are the helping verbs for the future tense. I will go, I shall go. But shall most of the time not is used for taking permissions and almost omitted from the future tense. Like I'll call you later. For polite requests or offers, and more or less I say that all the modal verbs, they have this function that they are used to make polite requests or to talk in a more formal context, right? For polite request, we can use would and could and statements starting from these models like would you like some tea or coffee? Would you like to help me? Would you like to join me for dinner? Right? And preference models, would rather, would prefer. When you have two choices, I would rather stay home than going to a restaurant than going for a picnic. So when you have two choices, so and you have to make one preference, you have to make one choice. So then we use these preference models like would rather and would prefer. So I hope you have learned enough from today's session, and the best way to practice these models is to make sentences with these. Inshallah, see you again with another exciting episode. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.